Coach, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Ugo.
Yeah.
Seemed like the competition, we talked about that between him and Arion, but he made some plays out there. What have you seen at his development over the last really year and a half for him? How far has he come?
Well, I mean, considering last week was a good gauge of talent, and I thought he did well. He made 6 really good tackles and had a number of opportunities where, you always wonder how number 9 for their team is going to play, and we fared well against him. He's really a special athlete, and I think we kept him in check, and Ugo had a lot to do with that.
How close is the competition between Ugo and Arion going on right now?
Well, it's not really just between those two guys. It's just the trust factor, and because they're all going to play. I got to play guys, and so I think it's a good thing. And where it is, it's going to be kind of discussed every week. In the course of how we play in practice, and those guys know that. And I'm not going to give it to somebody just because they've had it before.
Is that the best job you guys have done of making plays on the ball over the course of this season? Arion broke up a couple.
I don't know. Sometimes you guys know more than I do about stats and figures, but the fact is that we made a few plays, and I thought the better part, if you study tackling, which is the hardest skill in football and now becoming an extinction in the sport because of all the reasons to not tackle, it's evident when they make a couple long runs and it looks like there's no one on the field, and you look back and there are some guys, and we miss some big tackles for touchdowns, and we have all year, and that's really troubling overall. I mean, it's just troubling. It's just tackling. I see it all the time. I see it especially at the NFL level. It's just really not good.
The nature of the offenses you're going against the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So, you figure tackling is going to be a premium for your
yeah.
group.
And these guys are, and like Utah, are really physical. But yet they have an element, again, both of them, not to go ahead, but really it's going to be our next 3 games.
Right.
They're all the same. And Gary and Kyle coach together, and everyone knows Stanford. So, physical, make tackles, get off blocks, and try not to get fooled when they decide they want to throw the ball.
John, talking with Mark after the game, he said that there's no margin for error at this point because you guys do want to make a bowl. It really is 3 now. What do you think it's going to take for this team to be able
to be perfect?
Sorry.
Well, continually to high rep. We're a high rep team. We need reps and we need experience, and to develop. I know I talked to you guys a couple of weeks ago, and I just kept coming up with the word consistency. It's just all the time. How do you develop consistency in a really imperfect game? Perfection and execution and the things we talk about is because there was so many things can go wrong. It's like my daughter is at the police academy in Salem, and she's learned how to fire a weapon all week, and there is no margin for error. Maybe we need to bring some guns out, and if we make mistakes, they shoot themselves. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Funny, right? But no, I'm serious. It's almost like the same kind of level of focus and concentration in handling a firearm. When everything we do, if we make mistakes, they're big plays and touchdowns, and they don't put us in the win column. And so I hope that we can continue high rep and be consistent and put a game together, a full game together.
The limitations you talk about, how do you teach tackling at this point in the year? How do you reinforce those
Well,
fundamentals?
not to give it away, but live.
Yeah.
There's no substitute. And the substitute that's been created is one of the biggest causes, because basically, in my opinion, is you're constantly teaching to not tackle. And when that gets through the guys' heads after years and years at every level of football, and then all of a sudden in the game, it's like, okay, you can tackle now. It's kind of a pretty interesting thing to think about. It's like asking a receiver to drop every single pass and then the game catch them. And so, I'm going through a lot of that soul searching to, help us be a better football team.
Justin said after the game that he didn't feel like he was prepared for what the USC.
Who did?
Justin Herbert. I'm going to make the relationship. Okay. I know he's on a different side of the ball from you guys, but do you feel like your DBs were prepared for what they saw against USC?
Absolutely.
They were saying that sometimes it's hard to simulate a lot of what you see in the Pac-12
Well,
practice?
when you give up 45 points, it's hard to, say it's hard to say all the right things in public, But were we prepared? Yeah. Did they do anything that, oh my God, surprised us? Absolutely not. We just didn't make a number of plays and gave up a couple easy touchdowns, and that was a kind of a team loss. We had a team win a week before, and we kind of had a team loss last week. So, but no, there's no to me where I walk in going, "Oh shoot, man, we should have done this or that." We're where we are in the season with what we have, and we just have to keep developing our consistency.
What do you see out of Stanford? Obviously, you guys are very familiar with their program and how they run
Number
things.
5. I love number 5. I mean, I respect the guy in 1,000 different ways, and I really respect their coaches and what they've done. And yeah, we're familiar. I don't even know if I need to look at film anymore with those guys. I know what we're going to get, and it's like fighting Mike Tyson when he was 20 years old. And what's your strategy? You got to go in there and start swinging with them. They have no chance. You can't run away. You can't be light on your feet. You have to go in and try to trade punch for punch. We have to get some stops, and we can't let that guy. We can't let Christian McCaffrey have easy scores and space. He's the best change of direction player I've seen in a long time, which makes him very unique. He can run full speed, and it looks like his movement when he does cut is flawless. It's phenomenal to watch him. Plus, he's just as scary when he runs a 5-yard pass route as when he runs a power or a stretch play. And now they got this other guy who's a little guy. For them, he's not the pounder they've had before, which really makes things really hard. But now they got another guy that can really get outside and cause you some speed problems. So, it's the same group, some different names, different faces, and what they did to Oregon State, finishing the game with 29 straight runs says a lot about what they try to do in terms of a philosophy to win a game. And hopefully, guys, they're the kind of team you just pray you can get ahead of.
A lot of people feel that Stanford hasn't had the season that they've wanted to, but that they're peaking now at that kind of at the right time down the stretch. Do you see that they've improved quite a bit from the start of the year to now, that they're playing a lot better?
Like we did, and for whatever reason, and they changed quarterbacks, and it seems like that's what too much is on a quarterback. It's like the president of the United States. He gets blamed for everything. He takes credit for everything. I don't know what he does, but unless there's a war going or something. But same thing with the quarterbacks, and they change a quarterback, and they win some games. They win games with their formula of winning, and they've become more consistent. And I think again that it's pretty evident what they're doing right now. They're probably this time they're probably starting practice and they're blocking people right now. And that's what we're going to get. It's going to be a slugfest for us.
John, this is a lighthearted question,
Yeah.
but you brought up the president. So if you had to pick a president and a vice president from this year's football team, who would be president and vice president, and why?
Khalil Oliver would be the president, and Jawan Williams would be the vice president.
Why?
Because I completely trust Khalil, and he's a student, and he's very, very conscientious. He really is smart. He does ask a million questions, so he need a strong cabinet with him. And Jawan is just the guy that he's personable. He's also smart. He's a really good student. People like him. When he's not as important as the president, he could give some lighthearted answers too. So I like those two guys. Hey,
John.
you're welcome.
Can I get over here so I can get access to my tripod again? Jawan Williams is a popular VP candidate.
Yeah, I think, it was